After being reborn, I decided not to cling to Ethan anymore. He put up a sign at his birthday party that said no dogs or me allowed, so I went to Hawaii to stay far away from him. He said the smell of me at home made him sick, so I obediently moved out. Then he said after graduation he didn't want to breathe the same city air as me, so I left and never went back. In the end, he said that my presence easily caused his first love to misunderstand. I nodded, and soon after, I publicly announced it. I repeatedly made choices opposite to those in my previous life. Because in my past life, after marrying Ethan as I wished, his first love jumped off a cliff and committed suicide. He said I was the murderer, tormented me, abused me, and in the end, left me to be swallowed by the fish. This time, I just want to live well. Later, I held hands with my new boyfriend. But Ethan blocked the way, his eyes bloodshot. Ava, if you come with me now, I'll forgive your little joke. Ava and dogs are not allowed inside. Looking at this familiar sign at the door, I wept tears of joy. Ava is my name, and at this moment, it was insultingly placed alongside dogs. But no one knew how happy I was right now, because I had been reborn. I had returned to the day of my fiancé Ethan's birthday. In everyone's eyes, I was unworthy of Ethan. Whether in family background or appearance, we were worlds apart. He was the heir of the Ji family in Jiangqing, while I was an orphan with no parents. A mere childhood joke bound us together for more than 20 years. Everyone felt sorry for Ethan. He did too. So he put up a sign at the door and stopped me outside when I came dressed up. Ava, it's not that we don't want to let you in, this is Ethan's decision. You're smart enough not to make things difficult for us, it won't do you any favors. Ethan's close friend stood at the door, delivering the message with a cold expression. On both sides were security guards holding batons. Such a heavy-handed setup was all aimed at keeping me out. Everyone knew that Ethan despised me to the extreme. In my previous life, I also didn't enter the banquet. Like a dog, I waited by the door from day until night. Later, I was frozen until I fainted from a high fever. Ethan's parents found out about this, scolded Ethan, and pushed the engagement forward. On the day of the wedding, Ethan's first love jumped off a cliff and died. In the eyes of Ethan and his little circle, I am a murderer. Ethan avenged his first love. He subjected me to years of cold violence, abuse, neglect, and torment. I asked for a divorce countless times, but he refused every single time. Ethan snarled that he would drag me down to death if he had to. That feeling of being ignored, overlooked, treated like a non-existent object, I lived through it for 20 years. In the end, driven mad, I jumped into the sea, to be swallowed by the fish. The irony was, in my final moments clinging to this world, I saw Serena return home in a grand fashion and reunite with Ethan. She wasn't dead, she was alive and well, having become a world-renowned top designer. Her long-delayed, passionate love with Ethan was blessed by the world. From beginning to end, I was the only fool. If I could start over, I would live well, and stay far away from Ethan. Amid countless astonished gazes, I turned and walked away without a trace of regret. Back at the Ji family home, I shed the cumbersome formal gown. I was known by everyone as Ethan's obsessive pursuer. Whenever it came to anything about Ethan, I would think 10 steps ahead, then 100 steps beyond. Then I would arrange everything perfectly for him. Ethan had said more than once that work was exhausting and he wanted to relax. So I coordinated with his work schedule and arranged a trip to Hawaii. Because he had said he missed the beaches and the ocean there. But in the previous life, Ethan didn't agree to the Hawaii trip. Instead, he chose to go hiking and camping with Serena. I was ordered to go along. In the pouring rain, Ethan told me to pick up Serena's bracelet. As a result, I tumbled down the cliff and broke my leg. I stayed in the hospital for 2 months. I never want to experience that feeling of life plunging into despair again. Staying away from Ethan was the first step. I quickly packed my bags, grabbed my documents, and headed downstairs. Just then, Ethan rushed and dressed sharply. Seeing me, he sneered coldly, snatched my luggage, and threw it away. I frowned and asked, "What are you doing?" Ava, what else do I need to ask you? Are you still playing the runaway game? Next time, are you going to leave a suicide note again? Ethan panted heavily, his face full of disgust as he accused me. Ava, are you childish or what, trying to threaten me with suicide again? I tapped the dirty suitcase and asked back word by word, who told you I was going to kill myself? He and people like Serena, one with a wolf's heart and the other with a dog's lungs, can both live just fine. I barely got a second chance at life, so why would I kill myself? Ethan sneered coldly, saying nothing, his eyes full of disdain. Serena, who followed closely behind him, spoke slowly. Ava, if you want to come to the birthday party, you should talk to Ethan properly. You two grew up together, how could he not let you in? Suicide is a method you can use once, but twice, and it's like the boy who cried wolf. Serena spoke with a pointed meaning. Ethan's gaze toward me grew increasingly disdainful. My mind was a jumble of memories. Suddenly, I remembered something. After Ethan and Serena started dating, he seemed like a completely different person to me. I angrily left a message saying I was going to find a place to jump into the river. This terrified Uncle Charles and Aunt Eleanor. They ordered Ethan to break up with Serena. Since then, Ethan has despised me, ignored me, and refused to communicate with me. Serena's little clique isolated me, bullied me, and he turned a blind eye. I looked Ethan in the eye and explained, "You're overthinking it. I never considered suicide. I was packing because I was catching a flight to Hawaii." Ethan sneered, mocking me for using a poor excuse to save face. Serena tugged at Ethan's sleeve. "Ethan, why don't we let Ava join us? She looks quite pitiful like this." Ethan frowned, about to relent. I refused again, "No need, I'm going to Hawaii." Ethan's handsome face twitched slightly, sneering, "Did you hear that? She's going to Hawaii. Ava, don't make a fuss at a time like this." Serena sighed and stepped forward to take my hand. The sharp nail deeply pierced my flesh in a place no one knew. I pushed her away with a painful shove. Serena fell to the ground, weak and fragile, clutching her palm, her eyes full of disbelief as she looked at me, her lips trembling. "Ava, do you want to die?" Ethan reacted violently, pushing me down with even greater force. The back of my head slammed hard against the steps, the sharp pain making my vision spin. I listened to Ethan's loud scolding. "Ava, are you addicted to bullying people? Being with a woman like you makes the air in this house turn sour, it really disgusts me." I gritted my teeth against the pain and spoke up to stop his increasingly harsh words. "I will move out, don't worry." "You better mean it." All of Ethan's anger was stuck in his throat. He glared at me fiercely, then picked up Serena and turned to leave. I touched the sticky blood on the back of my head, inexplicably reminded of something. My relationship with Ethan wasn't supposed to be this strained yet. Because he had learned early on about our engagement, knowing that sooner or later we would become a real family. I just always loved clinging to him. He was rebellious, sneaking off to the internet cafe to play games, and I followed him there. Later, he got into a dispute with someone over a game. I tried to mediate but got accidentally hurt, cutting my finger. In that moment, Ethan looked like a fierce wild beast. He beat a man much bigger than himself until he was begging for mercy. But the man who used to get so anxious even when I accidentally hurt my finger, now he hurts me without any regard and asks if I want to die. But it doesn't matter anymore. Once Uncle Charles and Aunt Eleanor return, my engagement to Ethan will be broken off. I looked at the servant beside me and forced a weak smile. "Can you take me to the hospital? I can pay you." The new little maid was eager to make a move, but before she could get close, the old man yanked her back. Their deliberately hushed conversation still reached my ears. "Are you looking for death? Don't you know Mr. Ethan hates Miss Ava the most? If he sees you, you won't keep your job." The little maid was frightened, glanced at me one last time, and then ran away. I shook my head with a bitter smile and crawled into the corner to pick up the phone with the shattered screen. Uncle Charles and Aunt Eleanor have been away for years. They are only home 3 or 4 days a month. Ethan is the only master here. He has said more than once that I am not part of the G family, and I must handle my own affairs. So no one dares to approach me. Every time I come home, the leftover food is thrown into the trash. The plate on the table was empty. Fortunately, I was already used to it. I forced myself to go to the hospital. The doctor said I had a concussion and asked me to stay for observation for 2 days. After being discharged, I returned to the G family to pack my things. The servants watched coldly as I fumbled alone in embarrassment. That afternoon, I packed up all my things and moved them to a hastily rented house. This was a temporary refuge. After some time, once I had my diploma, secured an offer, and ended the engagement, I could leave all of this behind. On the 3rd day after leaving the G family, Ethan called. His voice sounded drunken. "Where did you go?" "A 12 private room, come over." I was busy writing my resume and got interrupted, feeling a bit irritated. "Ethan, is something wrong?" The person on the other end seemed to fall silent. Even the noisy chatter around him quieted down considerably. I called out again, heard no response, and was about to hang up. Ethan suddenly spoke. "Ava, where have you been?" I started typing again, then set my phone aside and said casually. "You said living in the same house with me made you feel like the air was disgusting, so I moved out." "Don't worry, I won't be coming back." The man's breathing grew heavier, and he suddenly sneered. "Ava, when did you become so obedient? Weren't you the one who used to cling on relentlessly? Since you're so obedient now, if I tell you to leave this city and get out of my sight, can you do it?" "Ava, I don't care what game you're playing, if you keep targeting Serena, I won't let you off." The mouse was a bit difficult to operate, and I stared at the screen. After a while, I finally realized what Ethan had said. Ethan's mocking voice sounded. "What, got nothing to say? Playing these little games every day, aren't you bored? Apologize to Serena, and then I'll allow you to come back." I spoke slowly. "Fine, I promise you, Ethan, I will leave." After speaking, I hung up the phone immediately. I received my diploma. I also got quite a few responses from the resumes I sent out. The offer I was most satisfied with came from a company in the neighboring city. I quickly scheduled an interview. Having a job was the thing I longed for most in my past life. I was anxious, but fortunately, the company called before I boarded the high-speed train. I passed. I sat on the high-speed train, eagerly searching for the perfect house. The thought of soon leaving Ethan filled me with excitement. Just after getting off the train, I received a call from Ethan. The moment the call connected, his brusque voice rang out. "Ava, where are you?" My good mood was instantly doused like a bucket of cold water. "What's the matter?" Ethan's voice grew even colder. "My parents are back. They want you to come home for dinner." It was already evening when I returned to the G family home. 4 people were seated at the dining table. Mr. and Mrs. G, Ethan, and Serena, all of them wore expressions that were far from pleasant. Something must have happened while I was away. I walked in with an unchanged expression. Ethan's gaze lingered on my face, and for some reason, he put down his chopsticks and went upstairs. "I'm not eating anymore." Serena followed him upstairs. I sat quietly beside Uncle Charles and Aunt Eleanor. The two awkwardly made excuses for Ethan. I looked seriously at the 2 elders before me, who felt like my own parents. In my previous life, when they found out I was imprisoned by Ethan, they tried to rescue me. But the G family was already under Ethan's control. They couldn't really help. I don't blame them, I only blame myself for being foolish. I spoke softly. "Uncle Charles, Aunt Eleanor, I've thought about this for a long time. Ethan and I are not compatible. He doesn't like me, and I don't like him. Instead of becoming a resentful couple, it's better to give each other freedom. Let's call off the engagement." Aunt Eleanor's face went completely stiff, tears shimmering in her eyes. "Do you really want it to come to this?" I nodded firmly. I resolved the matter that had been weighing on my heart since my rebirth. I felt completely at ease. Before leaving, I went back to my room, wanting to take the things I had forgotten last time. Serena blocked my way. "Ava, can you give Ethan back to me? I'm carrying his child, a child can't be without a father." Her eyes were red, looking pitiful and delicate. I frowned and instinctively took a step back. Serena gave a strange smile, then grabbed my hand and forcefully pushed it down against herself. "Ava, don't push me. The baby. My baby. It hurts so much." Serena tumbled down the stairs, fresh red blood flowing between her legs. Ethan rushed out of the study, baring his teeth and glaring at the scene. He raised his hand and slapped me. "Ava, you're so vicious. People used to say you liked to bully others, and I thought that was an exaggeration, but now I see it with my own eyes. What excuse do you have to defend yourself? If it weren't for you, Serena and I wouldn't have broken up. Why do you always have to get in our way?" Uncle Charles and Aunt Eleanor came out of the room. Seeing this, Serena clutched her stomach and cried out even louder. Ethan asked bitterly, "Mom, Dad, look at this, that's the wife you picked for me." After the sharp pain, I felt dizzy and my ears were ringing. I saw Ethan's face full of sorrow and anger, as if the whole world had betrayed him. Without a second thought, I slapped him twice with the back of my hand. "Don't worry, from today on, I'm no longer your wife. Ethan, I put up with you for a long time." Ethan was dumbfounded, unable to believe it. I rubbed my hands and nodded at the two elders standing at the door with unreadable expressions. "Uncle, Auntie, I have something to attend to, so I'll be leaving now." I didn't care how they reacted and walked straight out. Once outside, I collapsed by the roadside. Ethan's slap must have been with all his strength. I felt a sharp, numb pain on my cheek. If I had known, I would have taken the chance to slap him 2 more times just now. Ethan has always been like this. When problems arise, he never takes my side, all he ever does is blame me. Serena loves playing the victim and scheming behind the scenes. Back in high school, I went through all kinds of hardships because of her. Serena was locked in the bathroom, calling for help. I rescued her. She turned and threw herself into Ethan's arms, implying that I was the one who locked her in. I was at a loss for words. Because Ethan wouldn't believe me. In the end, I simply stopped explaining. As a result, the blame on me kept piling up. "Hello, do you need me to take you to the hospital?" I squinted and looked up. A man dressed in black clothes, black pants, wearing a black hat and black mask, was standing beside me. This kind of outfit either means a celebrity on the move or a pervert. I was about to shake my head, but then I suddenly collapsed forward. Woke up again. I stared at the familiar white ceiling of the hospital. The unpleasant smell of disinfectant lingered in the air. And there was a man in black leaning by the bedside, his head crowned with golden curls. I looked at those shiny, fluffy curls and couldn't resist reaching out to touch them. The texture was perfect. The man woke up almost the moment I moved, and when our eyes met, his face suddenly flushed red. He hurriedly pulled off his mask and put it back on. But just one glance. I still recognized that rather famous face. A certain male star from the entertainment industry. I was about to speak when my phone suddenly rang. It was Ethan calling again. I stifled my nausea and answered the call. Ethan's voice was hoarse and worn out. "Ava, Serena had a miscarriage, my child is gone. This was my first child, how can you be so heartless?" The man was grieving and in pain on the other end, while I remained indifferent. "Ethan, actually, you can ask your parents to call off the engagement. It's not difficult at all. Our marriage was only a verbal agreement, just a word away. It's that simple. Why don't you do it?" "It's because you're eating from the pot but thinking about what's in the bowl, and then you blame the pot for not jumping into your bowl. Also, Ethan, you really are so clueless." I hung up the phone immediately, my chest rising and falling. The young man beside me quietly urged me not to get angry. "The doctor examined me and said you have injuries on your face." If you've experienced violence, I can refer you to a lawyer. I looked at him. Dressed all in black, wearing a mask, yet his eyes betrayed a vulnerable, easily bullied look. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and lowered my gaze. There is indeed something I need your help with. Didn't Ethan say that my existence was an obstacle to him and Serena living happily ever after? That day, I posted a photo of our hands clasped together. The man's long, fair, and well-defined hand held mine tightly, forming the shape of a heart. The caption was especially straightforward and blunt: official announcement. Ethan's rowdy friends all sprang into action. I watched with delight, then put my phone down, completely satisfied. I recognize you, you're that very popular male star, called Noah? The man awkwardly waved his hand. No, that's not me. Just from spending a little time together like this, I already got a sense of his personality. Bundled up so tightly. He might be a celebrity, or maybe a weirdo, or possibly socially anxious. I smiled at him. Thank you for helping me twice. If you don't mind, I'd like to treat you to a meal. The man looked hesitant. I added, if you're busy right now, we can arrange another day. Noah and I agreed to have dinner the day after tomorrow, which would also be my last day in Jiangqing. My belongings have been arriving in Haicheng one after another these past few days. Only 2 small suitcases remain, and I've decided to take them over myself. Since I officially announced it on my social media, Ethan has been calling me like a madman. I blocked him with a swipe, but he called from another number. I started thinking about changing my number. Later, I accidentally answered a call, and Ethan's voice came through, full of accusations. Ava, what is he doing? You're actually with another man. I forced myself to suppress my impatience. Ever since I came to my senses, ever since I lost all feelings for Ethan, I realized Ethan had no redeeming qualities and was especially stupid. Ethan, I rarely speak this harshly, but you truly disgust me. You and Serena caused a death, and when I announced it on my social media, your friends took it upon themselves to seek justice, and you yelled at me. Am I Ava your pet, or did your G family buy me off? Ethan, why don't you go ask uncle and aunt? You and I have long since called off the engagement. I'm single, and I have nothing to do with you. Whether you and Serena love or hate each other is none of my business. Ethan couldn't believe it. What did you say? Called off the engagement? No, I don't agree. Ethan's voice was so agitated and resolute that I was momentarily stunned on my end of the phone. Then, realizing what was happening, I shot back at him directly. Who cares whether you agree or not? The fact is, we never held an engagement party, and you never publicly acknowledged me as your fiancé. On top of that, you and Serena are always seen together. Everyone knows you two are the real couple. Honestly, whether you agree or not doesn't matter at all. After that day, Uncle Charles and Aunt Eleanor called me one after another. Both elders asked if I wanted to go back. I refused outright. That place, I barely escaped from it. How could I possibly go back? The day I had a meal planned with Noah. He was still decked out in full gear. I could understand, after all, he was quite conspicuous. I had specially reserved a private room. Unfortunately, fate had other plans, and I ran into that scumbag Ethan again. He rushed over and grabbed my hand. Ava, did you really betray me? I always thought you were joking, but I didn't expect you to actually go out to eat with that guy. Who is he? Ethan, who do you think you are? I couldn't help it. I rolled my eyes and then pinched the flesh on Ethan's forearm hard. As soon as he let go, I quickly shielded Noah and stepped back. Ethan has a serious superiority complex. He loses his temper over the slightest thing. He once smashed my luggage for no reason, breaking the suitcase completely. Ethan looked hurt. Ava, protect him. I was speechless. Why would I protect him? Protect you, this scumbag? Fine, just get lost, okay? Fighting every other day, aren't you tired of it? We've called off the engagement ourselves. I have nothing to do with you anymore. Ethan gritted his teeth. Ava, I won't let you go. You harmed my child, and you owe me one. Such explosive words. For a moment, I thought I misheard. Ethan, if you have a problem with your mind, go see a doctor. With all the surveillance cameras in the G family, are they just for show? Serena fell down on her own. Speaking of which, I gave Ethan a half smile, half smirk. In the previous life, Serena faked her death and returned home in glory after 30 years. She married an 84-year-old wealthy old man abroad. Not long after, the old man died, and she got involved with his son. The reason for giving up those good days was simply to come back. It was because she had been flirting with too many people over there and was discovered by the original partner. She couldn't stay any longer. I absolutely don't believe that such a calculating woman would use Ethan's own flesh and blood to frame me, just to trap me. Ethan looked utterly stunned. I let out a scoff, mimicking his usual sneer. I thought this time I could finally leave. But Ethan took a long stride forward, blocking my path, his eyes bloodshot and brimming with tears. Ava, if you come with me now, I'll forgive you for the joke. I gave him a disdainful glance. Ethan, are you okay? Can you go check your brain? I brushed past him and left with Noah. This place has bad feng shui. The moment we arrived, I saw someone I dislike. Let me take you somewhere else. Noah obediently agreed. Someone I knew sent me a link, hinting that I should go take a look. When I clicked it, I found out that Serena was actually live streaming from the hospital. She was wailing and blaming me directly for causing her miscarriage. Playing the helpless victim was her specialty. Coupled with her hospital background and case diagnoses, it was easy for her to make people believe her. Serena incited her online followers to cyberbully me, added me on WeChat, and called me. For a while, all my social media platforms were completely overrun. Every time I opened my phone, it was filled with filthy language. Even former classmates, whether they knew me or not, came to jump on the bandwagon. I was so angry I laughed, immediately called the police, and then phoned Ethan. I demanded he hand over the surveillance footage. But no matter how much I planned, I never expected Ethan to be so shameless. Ava, if you want proof of your innocence, the footage is at home. Just come back. As long as you come back to me, I'll give you the surveillance. I know Serena's true colors now. I won't have anything to do with her anymore. Ava, from now on, I'm yours. I was about to throw up. Once I had recorded enough, I just hung up the phone. This time, I also went live and publicly fought back against Serena's accusations. As for those who took the opportunity to slander me, I sued them outright. Ethan's words were enough to prove that Serena was not a simple victim. In fact, she wasn't even a victim at all. Thoughtful netizens began to analyze the situation. There was also a group of netizens demanding that Ethan hand over the surveillance footage. Under the pressure of public opinion, Uncle Charles and Aunt Eleanor forced Ethan to produce the surveillance footage. The Serena miscarriage incident was completely overturned. It is said that Serena even signed a contract and was preparing to debut. Now, she's completely lost everything. Because of the false accusation incident, I requested to report later. Fortunately, the new company was very reasonable and even recommended that I have colleagues from the legal department handle the lawsuit. After arriving at the new company, I changed my phone number. Then I deleted all of Ethan's friends. More than half a year later, I passed through Jiangqing on a business trip with my boss. I wanted to visit the G couple, but the schedule was tight, so I had to give it up. In the blink of an eye, I ran into one of Ethan's friends. I didn't have a strong impression of him. But he immediately recognized me and greeted me warmly. Hey, have you been in touch with Ethan lately? Seeing him on the verge of bursting to speak, I shook my head. The man immediately said, after that incident, she owed millions in debt. Serena went to Ethan, and Ethan helped her pay it off. But Serena was restless. Ethan had someone investigate again, and sure enough, they found something. We always thought Serena and Ethan were mutually in love, but that's not important. The important thing is, Serena is restless. She slept with several of Ethan's close friends and brothers. The child she slandered you for wasn't even Ethan's. This matter is widely known in Jiangqing. Serena became infamous. Everyone says she's crazy trying to marry into a wealthy family. Later, Ethan couldn't swallow his pride and demanded she pay him back. Now Serena owes at least tens of millions and is currently looking for the old man. Ethan isn't doing well either. He got into a fight with some of his close friends, and they all ended up badly hurt. The G family isn't doing so well now either. I hadn't expected things to be so complicated behind the scenes. But this is exactly what Ethan deserves. The day I left Jiangqing, Ethan was waiting at the hotel entrance. He wanted to meet me. Under the hotel staff's arrangement, my boss and I took the VIP passage. We successfully caught the plane. When I got home, I smelled the aroma of food. Hearing the sound, the man came out wearing a girl's floral apron. "You're back. The bathwater is ready for you. Go take a shower first, and the food will be ready when you come out." Happiness takes shape like this. I opened my arms wide and hugged Noah tightly. "Why are you so early today?" Noah whispered. "The agent said I need to change my image. They picked out a movie script for me and told me to work out more during this period, and not to appear in public for now." My eyes lit up, and I leaned in to bite him playfully. "In that case, you'll have free time coming up, right?" I wrapped my arms around his neck and commanded, "Carry me inside." "Hurry up." Noah and I originally didn't want to go public too quickly. He had considered quitting the industry before. But the company firmly persuaded him to stay, and he signed for another 3 years. After his successful transformation, the response was good, and now he only takes on film roles. His fame grew bigger and bigger. So much so that now, when he goes out on a date, he has to be sneaky and only chooses the evenings. Noah couldn't take it anymore. Holding the ring he designed himself, he hurriedly proposed to me. I agreed. I instinctively turned my head. When I saw who the voice belonged to, I showed a displeased expression. Ethan stepped closer from the darkness, his eyes fixed on me, growing redder and redder. I frowned. "Ethan? Who told you my address?" Ethan spoke softly. "I had someone find it out." "Ava, don't be afraid, I just want to talk to you." I felt Noah's grip on my hand tighten. I patted him, signaling for him to go ahead first. Noah kept looking back as he walked away. I was laughed at by everyone. Ethan sniffled, his voice almost breaking with tears. "Ava, are you okay?" I completely cooled my expression and spoke frankly. "If you hadn't interrupted, tonight would have been a good night." Ethan started looking at me with that strange gaze again, as if trying to see through me to find something. A chill ran down my spine. "Ethan, what exactly do you want?" Ethan shook his head. "My parents miss you, they've been talking about you non-stop. I heard from Benny that he saw you, so I had someone check. Nothing else, just wanted to see you. To see if you're doing well." I didn't let my guard down. These days, the news is full of stories about ex-boyfriends stabbing their ex-girlfriends to death. So now you see. I'm doing quite well. You let Uncle and Aunt take good care of themselves, and I'll go back to check on them. After saying that, I was about to turn and leave. I looked at Noah's bored figure under the tree. I quickened my pace and ran over. "Been waiting long? Let's go."